Good morning, all. I am Dr. Kharde Anup, Associate Professor, Department of Community Medicine. Today, we are going to see acute respiratory infections. So, let's see the learning objective. At the end of the lecture, students should able to describe the epidemiological determinants of ARI. They should able to describe the clinical assessment of ARI cases. They should able to assess or they should able to classify the ARI, and they should able to give the rationale and the case management process of integrated management and neonatal childhood illnesses. Let's begin. So this is the pie chart showing the distribution of deaths among the children under 5 years of old. Respiratory tract infection are the most common human ailment which causes substantial morbidity and mortality in under 5 children and in elders. On an average, children below 5 years of old suffer about 5 episodes of acute respiratory infection per year. What is ARI? ARI is an inflammation of the respiratory tract anywhere from the nose to the alveoli with wide range of combination of symptoms and signs. So ARI is classified as clinical symptom depending upon the site of infection. So we have two types of ARI. Area of the upper respiratory tract include common cold, pharyngitis, and otitis media. And the area of the lower respiratory tract include epiglottitis, laryngitis, laryngotracheitis, bronchitis, bronchiolitis, and the pneumonia. You should remember that pneumonia kills more children than any other disease. If you compare the mortality of the pneumonia with the combined mortality of the AIDS, malaria, and the measles, it is more. Let's see the epidemiological determinants. So the acute respiratory infection can be caused by both viruses and the bacteria. Let's see the viral etiology. In viruses, we have adenoviruses in which endemic type 1 to 5 and epidemic type 3, 4, 7. Next virus is enterovirus, which include E. coli and the Coxsackie. Next is influenza virus, which include A, B, C. Then ARI also caused by measles virus, then parainfluenza virus 1, 2, 3, then respiratory syncytial virus, then rhinovirus, which has multiple serotypes, and obviously coronavirus. The bacterial etiology of the ARI are Bordetella pertussis, Corynebacterium diphtheria, Haemophilus influenzae, Klebsiella pneumoniae, Legionella pneumophila, Staphylococcus pyogenes, Streptococcus pneumoniae, and the Streptococcus pyogenes. So, ARI can be caused by both bacteria and the viruses. Let's see the host factor. The case fatality rate of ARI is higher in young infants and malnourished children compared to the others. And also the adult woman experiences more illnesses of ARI due than men because women are more exposed to small children. There are other risk factors which increases the morbidity and the mortality due to the ARI. These are overcrowded dwelling, poor nutrition, low birth weight, intense indoor smoke pollution, low socioeconomic status, maternal smoking, and urban areas. Let's see the mode of transmission. All the causative organisms of ARI are normally transmitted by the airborne route. As most viruses do not survive for a long outside the respiratory tract, the chain of transmission is maintained by the direct person-to-person contact. So let's see the control of acute respiratory infection. First is the clinical assessment. The important thing in clinical assessment is history taking. So what point we should ask to the parents in history taking? First, note the age of the child. Ask the parents how long the child is coughing. If the child is of 2 months to 5 years of old, uh, check for whether he is able to drink or not. If the child is of young infant, that is, if the child age is less than 2 months, ask whether the child has stopped the feeding or not. Ask the history of whether the child is drowsy or difficult to wake up. Also note down the history of whether the presence of convulsion or not. Also ask the parent whether child having irregular breathing, and also note down whether there is a short period of not breathing or whether the signs of hypoxia. So after the history taking, go for the physical examination. So we have to look and listen during the physical examination. First thing in physical examination is a counting of the breaths in 1 minute. You should remember that the breath counting, that is respiratory count, should be done for full 1 minute using second hand watch. While counting, you should look at the abdominal and the chest movement when the child is in calm. Also remember, chest and abdomen must be exposed while counting. So let's see what is the cutoff for the fast breathing. If the child is less than 2 months of age and having a 60 breaths per minute or more, then we can label that child is having a fast breathing. If the child is of 2 months to 12 months of age and having a breaths 50 per minute or more, then we can label that child is having a fast breathing. And if the child age is 12 months to 5 years and having a 40 breaths per minute or more, then we can label that child is having a fast breathing. So next in physical examination is look for chest indrawing. Look for the chest indrawing when the child breathes in. The chest indrawing means if the lower chest wall of the child goes in when child breathes in, and it is due to the child require more efforts for the breathe in than the normal. After chest indrawing, look for the stridor, and the stridor is an inspiratory noise. So it's an harsh noise when the child breathes in, and it occurs when there is a narrowing of the larynx, trachea, or the epiglottitis. And these conditions are often called as croup. So you should remember that stridor is an inspiratory in nature. So this is the picture showing the normal airway and narrowed airway which causes the stridor. After stridor, look for the wheeze. So wheeze is a soft whistling noise when the child breathes out. So wheeze is an expiratory sound. So wheeze is caused by the narrowing of the air passage in the lung. So breathing out in this breathing out phase are longer than the normal, and also it requires an effort. Apart from these signs, check for whether child is abnormal, sleepy, or difficult to wake up. Also note down his or her temperature. Check for whether there is a presence of severe malnutrition, and also the check for the cyanosis. So presence of cyanosis means there is a signs of hypoxia, and the cyanosis should be looked in the good light. So these are all the physical examination. Next is a classification of acute respiratory illnesses. So classification means making a decision about the type and the severity of the disease. It is required because each classification had corresponding treatment plan which should be followed. So let's see the classification for the child age 2 months up to the 5 years of old. So it has very severe disease category, severe pneumonia, pneumonia which is not severe, and the last category is a no pneumonia, that is presence of only cough and cold. Let's see one by one. So this is the picture showing alveolar space which filled with fluid and blood cell which contain bacteria. This is a sign of pneumonia. Let's see the first severe disease. If the child is not able to drink, if there is a presence of convulsion, or the child is abnormal sleepy or difficult to wake up, if there is a presence of stridor in a calm child, and if there is a presence of severe malnutrition. If all these are signs are present, classify that child is having a very severe disease. Apart from that, what you should remember that if the child is having a stridor in calm, it indicate that it's an life-threatening obstruction due to the swelling of the larynx, trachea, and the epiglottis. So what we should do? So if the child is classified as having a very severe disease, that child should be referred urgently to the hospital after giving a first dose of an antibiotic. So after also treat the fever if present, treat the wheezing if present, and if there is any signs indicating the cerebral malaria, then also the anti-malaria should be started. Next classification is of severe pneumonia. And the most important sign which shows the severe pneumonia is the child respiratory rate and that whether there is a chest indrawing or not. A child with chest indrawing is at higher risk of death from the pneumonia than the child with a fast breathing alone. Apart from the fast breathing and the chest indrawing, you should look whether there is a presence of nasal flare, that is winding of the nose as child breathes in. Look for whether there is a grunting, that is a short sound due to the difficulty of breathing, and also check for the cyanosis. So what you should remember in pneumonia that there may be a chest indrawing present without and fast breathing because child is exhausted and the efforts needed to expand lungs are too much. So there could be a chest indrawing only a sign with a severe pneumonia. Third category is the pneumonia, which is not severe. Here the child only having a fast breathing without chest indrawing. Then we can label at that child is having a pneumonia which is not severe. Last category is no pneumonia, that is presence of only cough and cold. The most children with a cough and difficulty breathing do not have a danger signs like chest indrawing or the fast breathing. They do not need an antibiotic because majority of such cases are of viral infection where the antibiotics are not effective. But you should remember that if the child having a history of cough more than 30 days, we have to explore other diseases like asthma, tuberculosis or whooping cough. So in nutshell, this is the management of severe pneumonia and the no pneumonia. If you label the child is having severe pneumonia, then we have to refer that child urgently for the higher center after giving the first dose of an antibiotic. We have to treat the fever or the wheezing if they are present. If we label child as having pneumonia which of non-severe type or the pneumonia with a cold and cough, we can advise home care with adequate instruction for the mother for the follow-up. We have to reassess the child in 2 days if we are prescribing antibiotic. Look for the worsening of the sign. So if child is not able to drink or if has having a chest indrawing or if he has having other danger sign, then particular child should be referred urgently to the hospital. If the child is having the same symptoms, then we have to change the antibiotic or we have to go for referral. And if the child is showing improvement, that is there is a decreasing the respiratory rate, that is breathing becomes slower, if there is a lowest episode of fever, and if the child is eating better, then we have to finish the antibiotic for the current antibiotic within the 5 days. So this is the classification of illness of the young infant. So the classification of illness of air of lung infants is similar to the 2 months to 5 years of child. So what is the drug of choice for the pneumonia? That is the child with having only cough and fast breathing is the cotrimoxazole. because the study carried out in India have confirmed that the efficacy of cotrimazole to be similar to the ampicillin and the procaine-penicillin. So the drug of choice for non-severe pneumonia is cotrimazole. So what is the drug of choice for the severe pneumonia? That is presence of chest indrawing. The drug of choice is intramuscular injection of benzene, penicillin or ampicillin. Obviously, we have to do the first sensitivity testing. After that, we have to monitor fluid and food intake, and also we have to provide a symptomatic treatment for the fever and the wheezing if required. Let's see the last topic of today's lecture is integrated management of neonatal and childhood illnesses. So there is a substantial childhood morbidity and mortality due to diarrhea, ARI, malaria, measles and malnutrition. And most children present with an overlapping signs and symptoms due to these five diseases. So it is very difficult to make a single diagnosis because of these overlying signs and symptoms, and also it is very difficult to give the treatment because of the combination of the many conditions. So the integrated management of neonatal childhood illnesses, that is IMNCI, it is a cost-effective integrated approach with a focus on the prevention and the promotion of health with a provision of standard case management of the childhood illnesses. Let's see the IMNCI case management process. So when a child come to the outpatient health facility, we have to check for the danger sign first. Look for the convulsion, look for the lethargy or the unconsciousness, look for whether there is a presence of inability to drink or vomiting. Apart from this danger sign, assess the main symptoms like cough, diarrhea, fever or any ear problems. Also assess the nutrition and the immunization status of the child, and also look for any other signs or other problem. Based on your physical examination, history taking and the assessment, you can categorize child AI into pink, yellow and the green category. Pink category is of for the urgent referral. So in which we have to refer child urgently for the higher facility. In yellow category children, we can give the outpatient treatment. We can treat the local infection, we can give the oral drug, we can do the advice and teach the home care, and we have to give the instruction for the follow. So green category is for the home based management. So in home based management, we have to counsel the caretaker how to give an oral drugs, how to treat an local infection at a home, how to continue feeding, and when to return to immediately for the immediately if there is a worsening of the signs and the follow. So this is the layout of management of IMNCR. So depending upon the color coding, we have to categorize the children in a pink category, yellow category or the green category. Thank you.